Hey everybody, I just wanted to pop in to have a quick little chat with you and answer a question that I get asked a lot by various people and my students. And that question is, do I need to go to art school in order to become an artist? The short answer is no, absolutely. You do not need to go to art school. You don't even necessarily need to take classes or anything. Now, that's not to say that you absolutely should not go to art school. That's not necessarily what I'm saying. But let me share my own story about why I didn't end up going to art school for a little food for thought. So I knew since somewhere around 15 that I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to do drawings of people, portraits of people, and then of course later I knew that I wanted to do oil paintings, right? So I went to a community college and I got some education there, and of course I was taking academic classes because that is a situation where you take art classes, but you also need to take, math and science and English and all that other stuff too. And I really enjoyed all that personally, but I didn't really feel that my art moved forward a lot, and I kind of chalked that up to being in a community college. Like maybe the quality wasn't exactly where it would be if I went to a four-year school right to begin with. So my plan was to go to a four-year school and get a bachelor's degree, but I felt like first I would need to teach myself how to paint. I kind of had this idea that maybe everybody else at the school was already going to know how to paint and I was going to be behind. So I decided to launch into that and start teaching myself how to paint. And meanwhile, I was paying attention to people who were in art school, what they were doing, how their work was progressing, what kind of things were happening, in their exhibits. And what I was noticing was that at the time, it's a lot different now, but at the time what I wanted to do was create realistic drawings and paintings, and what people were coming out of the college were doing, that was not what they were doing. They were not creating realistic drawings and paintings. It was kind of a totally different thing. I also noticed that typically graduates had to get some kind of employment in a field other than art. They had things they need to pay off, and maybe they weren't in a position yet that they were like selling work and making a career as an artist. So they needed to get a job, and then when they had the job, they were too tired to make the art. And simultaneously, I was teaching myself how to paint. I didn't have any debt. My overhead was low because everything was super affordable. I kind of hadn't gone down that road of like gaining debt and then needing to pay it off, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, I decided not to go that route because it just seemed like it was a difficult return on investment and it was going to tie me into something which might force me to get a job. So it was like my first goal was to not to have to get a job so that I would have the energy to create my art. So I did make a living, like I made some money doing other projects, but it wasn't something that I was paying off debt in addition to my housing and my need for food and things like that, right? But it worked out. I'm an artist, I exhibit, I create commissions, I teach, I have a complete career as an artist, and I make all of my living just from my work. So that's fantastic, So do you need to go to art school? No. But that doesn't mean, like, I hear a lot of people say, oh, nobody has ever asked me about my education. That's not true. That's usually the first thing that people ask me. Where did I go to school? Where did I learn? Who did I study with? At first, I was kind of embarrassed that I didn't have a bachelor's degree. But at the end of the day, it's not that it doesn't matter, but it's that it doesn't matter. So there are a lot of things that happen in school that, maybe I missed out on in some way. And some of that's networking and kind of having like a crew that you went through school with and stuff. I can see where I don't have that same kind of thing going on. But I do have my own crew in a different way as well. So, I guess this is just to say there are pros and cons on both sides. Don't completely discount going to school, but if you're not in the situation to go to school, or if you decide that's not the right route for you, like me, that I didn't want to have debt, that it was challenging, you have to go do something else. If you do decide to go to art school, Here is my biggest piece of advice. Go somewhere where the teachers, the instructors, and the alumni and the student work that you see, that is something that you really envision yourself doing. I recommend that you don't go to an art school just because it's prestigious, just because people say it's a really great school. If you look at the work that they're making there and you don't feel a connection with it, don't assume that they're the authority and therefore you're going to get a good education. Just make sure that there is some resonance with the program and the teachers and what they're doing and with what you really want to do inside of you. But again, if you don't go to art school, don't worry about it. You can still be an artist. You can still be very highly skilled. You can be a professional. Not having an art degree is not going to get in your way. Not having skill will probably get in your way, but not having an art degree will not get in your way. Now, if you feel like you vibe with me and you would like to learn with me, because I am a teacher, I do teach art, I teach realistic drawing and painting, you can check out my classes live in person here in Kansas City, and you can also check out my online classes. I have online courses that you can take just on your own. I also have live online classes and groups, so check those out. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you again next time.